Fox Sports.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
With one game remaining before the All-Star break, the Tigers find themselves 4 games in front of the Twins and only a half game ahead of the red-hot White Sox. Today from Comerica Park in Detroit, the Tigers look to complete the sweep against Minnesota. It's the 3rd and final game in this series between the Tigers and the Twins. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Peppa. Rod Allen, glad to have you with us as we wrap up the first half of baseball here in 2010. And, Rod, a lot of things have gone right for this Tigers ball club in the first half. But I think you can point to one thing, maybe is one of the big keys, Maglio's turnaround from 2009 to 2010.
Well, Maglio Ordonez kind of rededicated himself to the game of baseball. He was not happy with the taste that he had in his mouth the first half of last year. Therefore, he got back to the drawing board. He worked out very tiresome. In the offseason, he works out with a football team, as a matter of fact. And because of that, you see the 2010 numbers. 314, 11 home runs, 56 driven in. At this time last year, Maglio batting 260 with only 28 driven in. So it's good to see Maglio re-energized and really helping this team in the middle of their batting order.
All right, now the Tigers, as we all know, have played really good baseball here at home, and the Tigers have another great homestand going. In fact, right now, if they win here today, they will have back-to-back homestands of 8 out of 9, and that would be pretty good going into the All-Star break.
Well, if you're going to be a contending team, one of the things you must do is protect home court advantage. 32-12 is their home record, which is the best in the American League. They really don't stub their toe here that often, and they have a legitimate shot here today to get the sweep of a very good Minnesota Twins team.
All right, the Tigers hoping to wrap up that sweep here this afternoon. That's the story from Comerica Park. Right now, with more in our coverage, we'll go back to the Call Sam Studios, and here's Trevor Thompson. Views of Comerica Park, Twins and Tigers here in the final game of the series. And if the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow and get a free small order of curly fries. Here's the starting lineup in the finale for the Minnesota Twins. It is presented by Honda Bloomfield. Denard Span leads it off. He's in center field, followed by Orlando Hudson and then Delvin Young. Jim Thome is the DH. Michael Kadire is at first base. Jason Kubel is in right. You've got Danny Valencia making the start at third base today. Punto is at short, and Drew Butera is batting ninth and doing the catching. The pitching report, I should say, on Andy Oliver is presented by Ace Hardware.
And Oliver made one start here at Comerica Park, and he'd like to put it in the past. He only lasted 1 2/3 innings against the Baltimore Orioles. He was given a real big lead, but most young pitchers don't know how to pitch with big leads, and he struggled in that game. He limited lefties to a .220 batting average, which is pretty good, although he will not have to deal with Morneau nor Mauer here at the start of this game. And he has seen this Minnesota Twins team before. He had a start against them on June 30th. He pitched pretty well against them. Let's take a look at the Tigers defensively. It's always presented by Beaumont Hospitals. You've got two outstanding rookies in the outfield in Bosch and Jackson. The rejuvenated Magloire Ordonez, he's in right. Inge, Santiago, Guillen, Cabrera, Avila. That's the infield, and the youngster Andy Oliver is throwing the rubber here today.
Oliver making his fourth start. It's been kind of a mixed bag for him. His first start was pretty good. And we'll see what he's able to do here for the second consecutive time now against the Minnesota Twins. And the young left-hander ready to go to work. It'll be Denard Span, Orlando Hudson, Delvin Young, the top three hitters in Ron Gardenhire's lineup. Tigers come in having won 5 straight. The Twins have lost 4 in a row. First pitch of the ball game. In there for a strikeout, Denard Span.
Tigers pretty much have outplayed Minnesota in the first 2 games of this series, but another reason why they've won the first 2 is Span has been slowed down. Only 2 hits in 9 at-bats in this series for Span, and he's a guy that usually has his way with Tigers pitching.
To the tune of a .388 career average against Tigers pitching, but this series has been a whole lot different. By the way, our game time temperature today is 83 degrees, nothing but sunshine, a few clouds in the sky, but a gorgeous day nonetheless. The big eye in the sky today, the blimp, showing you our aerial views of the ballpark. Perfect place to be on a Sunday as we head to the All-Star break. Here's the 1-2 pitch. A little bit outside, 2-2 on Denard Span. Left-handers batting in just a .222 clip this year against Oliver. 4 for 18 against the young lefty. And the 2-2. Run it full now, 3-2 on Denard Span. Twins trying to right their ship. I mean, this is a team that when the Tigers last saw them in Minnesota on the last road trip was rolling pretty good. They were in first place, but they have struggled. The 3-2 pitch is fouled off. The Tigers, meanwhile, have gotten on another roll, courtesy of yet another homestand in which Jim Leland's ball club continues to play well here at home.
All-Star break can't come soon enough for Ron Gardenhire. Morneau has a concussion, and Mauer, his star catcher, kind of banged up as well.
And he lost it, so Span gets a leadoff walk.
The second baseman, number 1, Orlando Hudson.
Here comes Orlando Hudson. There's the leadoff man out. Hudson, batting .282, has had himself a pretty good series. 5 for 9 with a couple of RBIs. And he takes ball 1 down low.
Haven't seen Oliver enough to know what type of move he really has over to first base. But most left-handers can slow down, even a good base stealer like Span. Span has stolen 16. He's only been caught once this year. But the equalizer is Alex Avila. He's been one of the better throwing catchers in the American League this year. Not just rookies overall. .39% Avila is throwing out base runners this year, which ranks second in the American League.
One of the things that Jim Leland was talking about a little bit earlier this year when Avila was struggling at the plate, and Alex has come on now offensively a little bit, is that he had not taken his offense out to the defensive end of things, and that can be a difficult thing, especially for young players. But when you're catching, your attention needs to be on every single pitch, which I guess in some ways helps.
Well, his grandfather, Ralph Avila, has been in baseball for 50 years. His dad has been in baseball for a number of years. And when you come from that kind of pedigree, you're able to differentiate the two, which would be offense, defense. And I'm sure they stay in his ear quite often about that.
And the other thing with Avila is I think his personality lends to the fact that he's going to let stuff roll off his back. He's a mild-mannered kid. He seems to be able to come to the ballpark every day, separate the tough days from the good, and just roll on.
Great aptitude as well. For those of you that do not know, I've told the story many times. In the 20 years that Jim Wells, the Alabama coach where he played collegiately, called all the pitches, he let Avila call pitches at Alabama when Avila was there, the only catcher that he ever let do that. And Avila says, you know what? That really helped me mature as a player.
I'm sure it definitely speeded up the process for him. Well, it's 3-2 now on Hudson with the runner at first base, Span. We'll see if he's on the move here. And there he goes. It is outside, ball 4, and Oliver has started this game with back-to-back walks. Andy in his last start against Baltimore walked just 1. And he walked 2 in the start before that against Minnesota. Of course, Andy didn't last very long.
Jim Leland, when he walks to the mound this early in the game, it's not about strategy. It's about staying out here, young man.
These conversations usually don't last all that long. They are very pointed, very quick.
And one-sided.
Always one-sided. This one's going on a little bit, though, so home plate umpire Eric Cooper comes out.
Well, there's no way that the Jim will sit around here with his team playing as well as it has played on this homestand and allow Oliver to struggle too much in this game. Tigers would love to get another win here today because the White Sox are breathing down their necks. Half a game out of first place as we speak. And they start their ball game a little bit later on today.
And the White Sox have won 7 in a row. So they're putting together another pretty good streak. Here's Delvin Young batting in the 3 slot today, and he drives one to left field on a line. Brennan Bosch right there.
That's a nice job by Delvin Young. 90% of the time after a pitcher is struggling with his control after walking the first 2 and the manager has to make a trip out to the mound, you know you're going to get a fastball. He got it and he hit it hard, but right at Brennan Bosch. And that's why a lot of pitching coaches tell you to pitch to contact. Even if they do hit it, there's a pretty good chance they're going to hit it at somebody. At least 7 out of 10 times.
Well, you got 7 other guys behind the pitcher to help you out. Here's Tomey. Ground ball here gets you out of the inning. Tomey at 257, 1 for 6 in this series against Detroit.
If you're Oliver, you've got to be loving the fact that you do not have to see Mauer. You do not have to see Morneau. I believe Morneau has gone back to Minnesota and is not even available to play in this ball game because of the concussion.
Bouncing ball off the pitcher and off the glove of Santiago into center field. Span will come around to score. And the Twins get a bit of a break. Hard hit ball, but it caromed off the glove of Santiago. It's 1-0. Tomey gets his 29th RBI.
It looked like to me, had that ball not trickled off of the body of Oliver, then Santiago makes that play. Looks like he was headed up the middle, and then he had to redirect his body. I'm talking about Santiago, and reach back for the ball, and he was not able to get to it. But had that ball not hit off Oliver, and the Tigers would have gotten themselves out of the inning.
So the Twins have taken advantage of one of the walks. Tomey gets an RBI. That'll bring up their number 5 hitter, Michael Kadire.
Just to finish that thought on Justin Morneau, who was scheduled to start at the All-Star game this year. That means Miguel Cabrera will get the start. His first ever start in an All-Star game this year. Well deserved by Miguel Cabrera.
Speaking of Cabrera, foul ground first base side of the pop-up, and there are 2 gone.
Morneau will not play, out with concussion. Cabrera will start. And a very deserving Paul Konerko is added to the roster.
Morneau actually was asked to participate in the home run hitting contest as well, and even before the concussion said, I'm probably not going to do that. I need the rest. I need the extra day. But the concussion has just knocked him out altogether.
Well, not only that, but after he won the home run hitting contest in New York a couple of years ago, his second half wasn't all that strong from a power standpoint, and that's the main reason why a lot of guys are turning down the home run hitting contest these days. But there's still really nice names that are participating this year, even though many have turned it down.
2-0 on Jason Kubel. Of course, our own Miguel Cabrera will participate in the home run hitting contest. All-Star festivities will crank up tomorrow in Anaheim, California. Ground ball right side, base hit. That's going to get another run in. The Twins have scored 2 early ones as Hudson crosses the plate.
Well, one of the main reasons why Oliver is on the big league roster is to get left-handers out and to get a couple of starts against this Minnesota Twins team. But so far in this game, he hasn't fared well against the left-handers. They've hit the ball hard. Tomey hit the ball awfully hard. And Kubel takes a fastball that's down and rips it right past Cabrera. And so he needs to find that curveball or something else, which will allow him to maneuver through a few of these left-handers that Ron Gardenhire has in his lineup today.
Here's Danny Valencia. He's playing third base today for Minnesota, batting in the 7th slot. It's been a good inning so far for Minnesota. Valencia batting .315.
Minnesota has not had many innings like this on this road trip. They're usually falling behind early because their starting pitching hasn't been all that strong.
The 1-0. Popped him up. Shallow right field. Ordonez on the charge. Cabrera going over. And Cabrera with a catch in foul territory. Nicely done. Miguel ran a long way for that one. That's all for the Twins. They will settle for 2. Austin Jackson at the top in center field. Johnny Damon the DH today, followed by Ordonez in right. Cabrera is at first base. Bosch opens up in left. Guillen at second base, and Leland's bottom 3 today is Inge at third, Avila catching, and Santiago is playing shortstop. Bernstein Advantage brings you the scouting report on Carl Pavano. Get the Bernstein Advantage. We go to bat for you.
Well, he carried their staff in the month of June. Everybody else was struggling, but not Pavano. He was 4-1 with an earned run average of 2.25, and that's the best start he's had, or best year he's had, since he's 18-8 in 2004. And guess what?
Maglio mashes him, but Maglio pretty much mashes everybody.
Jackson leads it off and rolls one foul against Pavano. Jackson, Damon, Ordonez. Austin has hit safely in 12 of his last 13. Recently had that 11-game hitting streak come to an end. Solid rookie season. Bouncing ball left side. Deep in the hole. It's short. It's Punto. Nice play. One gone.
Well, with the Minnesota Twins, you know you're pretty much going to get stellar defensive plays, and that's what they've been able to provide all season long. In Punto, it doesn't really matter whether he's playing third base, he's playing shortstop today. He is a human highlight film. Made a tremendous play here yesterday in a ball game.
Here's Johnny Damon, homered in the ball game yesterday against Blackburn. His 6th home run of the year.
Expect the Tigers to swing early and often. They know that Pavano is a strike thrower. He does not walk many batters, 17 to be exact, in 118 innings pitched. So they'll be looking to do what Damon did yesterday. He did it in the 5th inning against starter Nick Blackburn. It was a bunting situation. And Minnesota thought early in the count Damon was bunting, but Jim Leland allowed him to swing the bat, and he got lucky and hit it out of the ballpark.
Chases one out of the zone there, and Pavano has his first strikeout. There are 2 gone. The way Pavano has pitched against the Tigers in his career, a 2-0 lead is somewhat worrisome, even though it's the very first inning, because for whatever reason, this guy's been great against Detroit.
Normally, I would agree with you 100%, and the numbers speak for themselves, but the Tigers play such great baseball here at Comerica Park. I'm thinking somehow, some way, they're going to figure out a way to get to Pavano today.
And I guess to back up your point, they have a lot of comeback wins and really have one of the better records in all of baseball at home. So we'll see which statistic wins out today. 0-1 on Maglio. Pavano throws another strike, 0-2.
Maglio got his 2000th hit against Carl Pavano here at Comerica Park. It came on April 29th.
One of just a few milestones that have been reached this year. The 0-2 pitch. Hit hard to third and scooped nicely by Valencia. It's going to be an 8-pitch inning for Carl Pavano. Tigers go 1, 2, 3, and we go to the second. Podcast for TV, phone, and internet. Back here at Comerica Park, another jam-packed house here this afternoon. Final game before the All-Star break, and Minnesota leads at 2-0 as we head to the top of the second. On a gorgeous day here this afternoon, Nick Punto leads it off, and he'll be followed by Drew Butera and Denard Span. Oliver walked a couple of batters to start the game, and both came around to score. Punto hitting .241. 0-2.
Punto made a tremendous play. It was in the first inning of the ball game yesterday. It was a runner on third. It was a ground ball to third base. And take a look at the athleticism here of Punto. Off balance, strike to Maurer. Maurer blocked the plate beautifully. Jackson could not get in there. But that did not stop Detroit. They were rolling yesterday. Balls were flying out of Comerica Park yesterday. I mean, flying out of here.
Seems like Punto makes one of those plays every single time he plays the Tigers.
And it really doesn't matter which position he's playing either.
The 1-2 is fouled away.
There were 4 home runs hit yesterday by the Tigers, 1 by Minnesota. And here at Comerica Park, during the daylight, when it starts to warm up, the ball really starts to fly. Well, he makes any ballpark look small. That would be McGill.
Bouncing ball to second base. Guillen has it. Punto is out, 1 gone. Well, the Tigers are indeed on a roll. They have won 5 consecutive games, and they have pushed Minnesota 4 back in the Central. But boy, those pesky White Sox having an outstanding last couple of months, really. A slow start.
Gavin Floyd, John Danks, Mark Burley, Freddie Garcia. That rotation has been tremendous. Even though Jake Peavy season is more than likely over, they still have a very good rotation, and they're starting to get some timely hitting too. But this Tigers team not too bad either.
Nope.
They're holding their own.
But as Jim Leland says, the second half better be filled with a few more road victories if we want a chance. And also more victories within the division. Tigers right now are playing .500 baseball against the Central. But boy, it's been home sweet home here at Comerica Park. 2-2 on Drew Butera. He's catching today for Joe Mauer. Mauer headed to the All-Star game. And the 2-2 pitch. Got him, strike 3. First strikeout for Oliver.
That breaking ball that Oliver just threw right there to Butera is one that he needs to throw to the left-handers as well. It's located very well. He starts the ball down the middle, and by the time Butera gives up on it, the ball is heading on the inner third for a strike. Very good slider here by the youngster Oliver.
It's a slider that Oliver has said he really refined this year, or began to refine in the minor leagues. That's a pitch he was working hard on. We know he can throw it in terms of fastball velocity, mid to upper 90s. Span batting with 2 outs. 1-1.
For whatever reason, Denard Span is playing much better baseball in their new home, Target Field in Minnesota, than he is doing on the road. For whatever reason.
It'll be a tough play. Santiago got him by half a step. 1-2-3 inning for Oliver. Nice play by Santiago. the second. The hydroplane race is going on right now on the Detroit River, and these spectacular shots brought to you by DirecTV. Get every MLB game in HD. Call 1-800-DirecTV. The blimp in town, providing those awesome shots this afternoon.
Been hanging out all weekend.
It's always great to have the blimp at our disposal. Get some shots you don't normally see of downtown and the river and surrounding areas.
Beautiful.
Here's Cabrera leading it off against Pavano. Pavano had an easy and quick 1-2-3 first inning.
We talked about Cabrera briefly participating in the home run hitting contest in Anaheim, and he was asked, did he worry about participating, messing up his swing for the second half? And he said, no. Real simple. He said, it's not going to affect me one bit.
You know if he's done one of these before?
I think he did do one. I forget which one it was, but I think he has done one.
Ask and you shall receive. 2006. He finished third with 15 home runs. Here's the 1-2. I think one of the things that hitting coaches and managers are really worried about when they have some of their guys in the home run hitting contest is the fact that you take so many swings. You get arm heavy. And, you know, there's a chance that you could mess something up, both physically and mentally, I suppose.
You do take a lot of swings, and it's usually in a very hot place. I don't know how Anaheim will be, but it might be more comfortable there than it is in, per se, St. Louis,
right,
for instance, when you play in a warm weather place. And, of course, Cabrera, we're watching him as far as the Triple Crown is concerned. But the point that you make is valid about the amount of swings you take in that kind of heat, because you're sweating. There's pressure, and you're swinging real hard. You're swinging harder than you normally swing, and that could really tax your back.
And that one missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Cabrera.
Pavano doesn't walk many, which means that more than likely it's going to be a strike by Pavano, but it will be a well-located strike. He usually stays out of the heart of the plate. Pavano wants a changeup here.
Missed with it. 3-2. Bosch waiting on deck. Crowd getting into this one early here. Tigers down 2-0. And the 3-2. Ground ball to short. Easy play there for Punto. High throw. Kadire comes down with it. One goal, and that'll bring up Bosch. So as Bosch comes strolling in, will tell you that he has 12 hits on this homestand, and he just continues to mash. In fact, in the month of July, Brennan is 12 for 28. 343 batting average. And he should be eligible for the league leaders in terms of enough plate appearances today. No balls, 1 strike. He just needs a few more plate appearances. Should be good to go. The 0-1 pitch. Bosch 12 homers, 48 RBIs. He's 3 for 7 in this series against Twins pitching. And he bounces one towards second base. Deep there is Hudson.
Hey fans, baseball's biggest stars go head-to-head for one spectacular night in this summer's biggest event. Tune in when Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2010 MLB All-Star Game from Anaheim, Tuesday at 8 p.m. on your local Fox station.
The Big A will be the site. Cabrera will be there.
So Cap.
Here's Carlos Guillen. Carlos batting with 2 outs, 5 up, 5 down against Pavano so far. Talking about Pavano's ability not to walk too many. You mentioned 17 and 118 innings coming in, but he has not walked more than 3 in any game this year. A strike thrower, which fits right into the Minnesota profile. High fly ball, shallow right for Jason Kubel, but instead Spann will step in front, make the play. Pair of 1, 2, 3 innings. The Eye Institute, the most trusted name in eye care. And by AT&T, find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And don't forget to vote for your McDonald's player of the game today using your cell phone. Be sure to text Tigers, followed by a space, and then the player's uniform number to 37338. That is FS DET. You can see the final results before we leave the air today.
If you're just joining us, the youngster Oliver got off to a little bit of a shaky start. He walked the left-handed Spann, then he walked Hudson, and that started to bring some of the power guys to the plate, which would be Tomey. He singled in one, and then Kubel, a couple of batters later, also singled in a run as well. So in the ball game today so far, Oliver not all that successful against the left-handed batters.
So here is Orlando Hudson as we go to the top of the third, 2-0 Minnesota. A much better second inning for Oliver. He threw just 13 pitches compared to 23 in the first. Hudson had a base on ball, scored a run. He came around in the Kubel single. The 0-1 is inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Oliver was originally drafted by the Minnesota Twins back in 2006 in the 17th round. He decided that he wanted to go to college and went to Oklahoma State. So one of his dreams all along was to play in the College World Series. Did not sign with the Twins, and the Twins' loss is the Tigers' gain, albeit a few years later. Hudson waiting on a 1-2 offering, and here it is. Right back again up the middle, and this time into center field. The second time that Oliver has had a ball hit right back at him. It's a leadoff single for Hudson. He continues to have a great series.
Looked like he was in pretty good position to field that ball, but couldn't come up with it.
There's Delman Young. Young hit a ball sharply to the left fielder Bosch his first time up.
And Delman Young batting .301 with 58 RBIs. He usually bats in the lower third of the batting order, but with Mauer and Morneau out and the left-handed Oliver on the mound, he's elevated to that 3 spot today. 58 RBIs out of that number 7 slot. That's a lot of ribbies.
That is really amazing at the bottom of the lineup. And also when you consider last year he had 60 the entire season.
It also kind of validates the importance of having guys like Maurer, Morneau, Kubel, Kadire. Those guys all hit in front of Delman, and those guys are always on the base paths. And Delman is just taking advantage of that. His hitting coach, Joe Vavra, says he's matured. His manager, Ron Gardenhire, says he's rededicated himself. And that's why he's having a monster year.
Delman lost a lot of weight in the offseason. He was one heck of a high school player. #1 pick.
It's a dangerous count right here for Oliver and to Delman Young, especially if he decides to throw him a fastball here. You know Young is looking for it and sitting on it.
Young, as a junior in high school, hit 17 home runs and was the California State Player of the Year. Of course, he's Dimitri's brother. And both of those guys had great careers before they even got into professional baseball. Fouled back out of play, 2-2. Delman came over in that big deal from the Tampa Bay Rays that involved Matt Garza and Jason Bartlett going the other way. And for a while, it looked like it was going to be a severely lopsided deal. But Young has kind of evened it up now with the season that he's had. Drives this one to right center field. Jackson won't get it. It'll drop in, a base hit. He's going to try for 2. The throw is not in time and give Young a double and move Hudson to third. Twins threatening again here in the third inning.
Looks like a 2-2 fastball right down the middle, ripped into right center field, and Young was thinking 2 bases as soon as he made contact, and that's the reason why he was able to get to third base as we watch Hudson motor for third. Close play, but Delman was in there safely.
Tomey a chance to drive in a pair with a base hit. Tomey had a single back up the middle, which scored a run.
Tigers are trying to accomplish something here that is very difficult to do, and that's sweep a team. And no matter whether you're playing at home or on the road, and especially a team the caliber of the Minnesota Twins.
Here's the 0-1. 0-2 on Tomey. Leland was using the example of the Baltimore Orioles and how after the Tigers swept the Orioles, people were saying, well, yeah, that's nice, but they were just the Orioles. And then Baltimore goes down to Texas and beats the Rangers 3 in a row. There are no easy teams was the lesson, I suppose. Jim Leland's trying to the point he's trying to get across. The 0-2. In fact, Baltimore yesterday spoiled the debut of Cliff Lee in a Texas Rangers uniform. Lee, of course, gave up 6 runs, but in Cliff Lee fashion, he pitched a complete game.
I was watching that game, and I'm wondering why he had a complete game, because he was losing. I mean, it didn't look like they were going to win. I'm wondering why a complete game. I'm wondering.
Good question. There's a line drive and caught by the shortstop Santiago. A soft liner had hung up long enough. Saved at least a run.
And it looked like Tomey hit that ball right off the end of the bat. Santiago gets a nice break on it and makes a nice play.
Kadire will not bat. They'll walk him intentionally. You know what the other thing I was wondering about yesterday, perusing through the box score, is how Kazmir could stay in a ball game long enough to have 13 runs tagged on his line.
Well, their bullpen, I think, is beat up because they got swept, and they got swept by the White Sox. And I'm sure the White Sox beat up on them pretty bad at U.S. Cellular Field. So Mike Scioscia may have had no chances and no opportunities but to keep Kazmir out there. That's the only thing that I could think of.
And you're right, because that's what eventually I think Scioscia would go on to say. I can't remember the last time I saw a pitching line of, I think he went 5 innings, gave up 13 runs.
Bullpen was just beat up. It was one of those days where Kazmir had to take one for the team.
Well, while they have a chat on the mound right now, we'll take this time to have a game break. We go back to the studio, and here's Trevor Thompson. All right, Trev, thank you. Boston remains in the hunt. They've won 50 games over in the American League East.
Terry Francona gets my vote right now for Manager of the Year in the American League, with all the injuries he's had to play through. Ellsbury, Victor Martinez, Pedroia, Beckett. Big Papi got off to a miserable start once again, and he's kept them together to the tune of 50 wins.
Here's Jason Kubel. Yeah, you could put together pretty much an all-star team with the guys they have on the DL.
And some will say, well, yeah, they spend a lot of money and they've got really good, strong bench players, which they do. But still, to lose that many players of that status and still perform that well gives you an idea of how good Francona is.
Kubel here with the bases loaded.
That's a good pitch. That's a good breaking ball. It's a 1-0 count. Kubel's looking for the fastball, which means he's cheating. And when you're cheating as much as he was cheating for the fastball, you're going to swing and miss just like that. You might as well try to locate another one like that. You don't want to hang it to Kubel. He's dangerous.
Well, the Twins are batting just .237 this year in a base-loaded situation, so they have not gotten it done a lot in these types of situations, which is third worst in the AL. Right now, Kubel has Hudson down at third. He has Young at second and Kadire at first.
I think Kubel hit a grand slam this year off Mariano Rivera.
He did do that.
Good pitch.
Takes it inside.
This is where the game of baseball kind of gets fun. He's already thrown him a couple of real good breaking balls. Kubel was looking for a breaking ball in that last pitch, so he threw him a fastball inside. And now we'll see if they go back with a breaking ball or stay inside with a fastball.
Right back up the middle, but it's knocked down by Santiago. They might turn two, and they do. Santiago with a flip to Guillen on to first with a double play.
This Minnesota Twin team has hit in 102 double plays. Ouch. Tigers lineup today. He wasn't that successful, but he got some help from Santiago the second time around. Real nice play to get Span. Then he runs and makes a catch against Tomey. And this double play ball right here is spectacular. Underhand flip again. Guillen turns it over to first base. And we told you that they have hit into a whopping 102 double plays this year. 102.
And that came in handy, that's for sure.
Next closest team in the American League, 86, the Orioles, and the Giants have hit into 92. I wonder how many Kung Fu Pandas hit into out of San Francisco.
Oliver, meanwhile, living on the edge. The base is loaded, but he gets the big ground ball.
Well, he got away with a hanging breaking ball there to Cooper, too. I mean, that thing was hanging.
Brandon Inch leads it off.
But Jim was talking about that a couple days ago. He said you can watch a baseball game and there will be 25 pitches right down the middle that are popped up or that are grounded out or grounded into double plays. And he is absolutely right.
High fly ball, left center field. This will stay in the ballpark. Span and Young both call for it, and it's going to be Delman to make the play. One out. Well, the Tigers return to Comerica Park July 19th through the 21st, a 3-game series against the best in the West, the Texas Rangers. Each night at 7:05. Tickets are available by calling 866-66-TIGER or tigers.com, whichever is most convenient for you. And in the West, it's Texas up by 4.5 on the Angels. Oakland 8.5 back. Alex Avila looks at a strike.
Not to be lost in what Jim Leland did in that inning, walking the diamond, which was the right thing to do with a base open, to set up that double play for Oliver. We don't talk about it enough or a lot, but Jim has had a real nice homestand as managing, calling pitch outs correctly, putting the sacrifice bunt down at the right time, maneuvering through his bullpen the way that he has done.
The 0-2 pitch.
Sometimes that stuff is just taken for granted, but he's a real good leader.
Well, I think most managers will tell you that they really don't affect the outcome of too many games, but sometimes I disagree with that. I think that you're right. The little things can turn the tide of a game. Perhaps just like that double play did. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And in the end, yes, it's all about the players on the field and them executing what you want them to do. But
you got to get him to play them.
Exactly.
He gets them to play. He gets them to play. He's an old school guy that can really relate to the young players. Some old school managers can't do it. He can.
1-2. Shade outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Avila, who also homered for the Tigers yesterday.
Opposite field home run yesterday for Avila. Tigers had 8 hits yesterday. All 8 hits were extra base hits. Every last one of them.
They had 4 homers, 4 doubles. 2-2 on Avila. Tigers still looking not only for their first hit, but their first base runner period in this game. 7 up, 7 down against Pavano so far. And again, the 2-2. Got him. Strike 3. Second strikeout for Pavano.
I saw Pavano when he was a real young kid in 1995 in the Boston Red Sox organization. He was an A-ball at that time, and he had a fastball that was 95, 96 miles an hour. But this is the fastball that has kind of led to his resurgence. It's a swing-back fastball. It starts inside. It looks like it may have still been inside, but you get my point. The ball kind of swings back over the inner third against left-handed hitters, and he gets a lot of strikes called on that pitch. Talking to Lloyd McClendon before the game, I said, what do you need to do against this guy? He said, well, it's hard because he throws the ball all over the 4 quadrants of the strike zone. He never throws anything down the middle, and he changes speeds on everything. That pretty much, folks, is the art of pitching.
And he typically is going to have a pitch count that's in pretty good shape once you get to the later innings because of the fact that he doesn't walk too many.
He was really lobbying to the Minnesota Twins to try to acquire his former teammate Cliff Lee. And I thought Minnesota had the best chance of getting him, but of course now we know Cliff Lee is in Texas, and Minnesota probably still looking for a starter to help them out the second half of the year. But I didn't think there was any way he was not going to end up in Minnesota.
1-2. It's pulled foul. Well, they certainly were reported as one of the front runners. They seemed to match up with some of the players that Seattle wanted, and then all of a sudden the reports came out of New York that it was just about a done deal, and then that fell through.
The Minnesota Twins refused to give up the amount of players that Seattle was looking for. They refused to give up 6 players.
It's going to be another 1-2-3 inning for Pavano. 9 up, 9 down. 3 in the books. 2-0. The first Major League Baseball All-Star game held in 1933. I bet you Charlie Gehringer was in that game. That's your trivia question, courtesy of AT&T. They called him the mechanical man, you know. Apparently because of his mechanical style of play. He was not a very fluid player, but a very good one nonetheless. 4th inning on tap here in a 2-0 ball game, and Oliver back at the hill facing Valencia. He swings on the first pitch and rolls it to the shortstop Santiago. He's been busy today, and Ramon makes another play. 1 up, 1 gone. There's Nick Punto. Oliver started on shaky ground in this one, walking the first 2 batters of the game. They both came around to score, but since then he's thrown up 0.
If you're Tigers corner infielders, it's about time for Punto to try to bunt. I know Inge is always anticipating a bunt when Punto's in that batter's box, but Cabrera, he needs to be alive too.
Strike 1 on Punto, who bounced out 4-3 back in the second. Nick batting .240. And he takes the ball inside, 1-1. Punto right now is struggling. In fact, he is 0 for his last 17. 0 for 7 in this series. 2-1. Well, it looked like he was showing bunt on that first pitch, but nothing after that. Not a whole lot of power. In fact, not any power to speak of for Punto. In fact, he homered on June 18th. His first and only home run of this year, and that was his first home run in 316 at bats, dating back to last year. 3-2. Drew Butera waiting on deck. Twins trying to escape town without a sweep. And they're trying to break their 4-game losing streak. Pitching has really been the trouble for Ron Gardner's team. In fact, in their last 22, his starter's ERA is about 6.5.
And that is usually their strength.
On a line to center field, base hit. That'll break that string of 0 for 17. By the way, this game today is available in crystal clear high definition on Fox Sports Detroit HD, sponsored by Comcast. Good buddy, the Comcast remote is back today. Lurking.
Don't mess with a man's remote.
Pause is usually chasing the remote around. I haven't seen Pause yet today. Here's Butera. Ball 1 to the number 9 hitter, Butera.
Good hit and run count now for Ron Gardenhire, but it's kind of risky because Oliver hasn't thrown a whole lot of strikes. But you have a hitter batting 163. You'd love to take all the guesswork out of it for Butera. And you have a guy on first base that can run in Nick Punto. Jim Lehman thinking right along those same lines, and that's why the throw over. Two of your better managers in all of baseball here, and they just kind of know what each other's thinking a lot of times.
We've seen a lot of each other over the last 4 or 5 years. Big swing there, 1-1. Butera hit his first career home run against a former Tiger, Chad Durbin of the Philadelphia Phillies, earlier this year.
Would not be shocked to see Oliver throw over to first base once again here. 1-1 is a good hit and run count for some managers.
Long look down at Scott Alger in the box at third. Butera with the runner at first base, Punto.
Scott Alger down at third base has been in their organization since 1977. He's a good player, good manager. Now on Ron Gardenhire's staff. In good shape, too.
And Scott's always been that way. The 2-1. I remember seeing him manage in the minor leagues at Salt Lake, and that was, well, at that time in the early 90s, and he looked exactly the same then as he does now.
He won a lot of games in the minor leagues, too. He is a good company man. He's been a good buddy over the years, too. We played against each other way back in the mid-70s. Not mid-70s, but later 70s, early 80s.
3-1 pitch is a strike. 3-2 on Drew Butera.
It's risky now. I don't know what Gardenhire is going to do. He's got a 2-run lead, 3-2 count, strikeout pitch against Butera. And Alex Avila is throwing the baseball as well as any catcher in the American League.
Swing and a miss. Here's the throw, putting on the brakes. Punto, he'll get a rundown. Cabrera will run him back. And the tag made by Santiago.
I could see that coming.
Strikeout. Punto caught the rundown and eventually tagged out.
Butera was standing in the batter's box, and Butera swings right through it. Punto tries to stop and get back to first base, and he's caught in a rundown. But if you're Ron Gardenhire, you pretty much have to send Punto there. Your team is already hitting to a whopping 102 double plays, and you're hoping your catcher, Butera, would have made some contact.
Punto stayed in that thing as long as he possibly could. 2-4, 3-6 is how the putout went. There's Jackson now as we head to the bottom of the fourth inning. Tigers have not had a base runner yet.
Avila continues to do a very nice job of throwing that baseball down to second base.
0-2. Pavano 3 straight 1-2-3 innings. Give up 3 home runs in his last start. Swing and a miss.
He could pitch. He can just pitch. He's not afraid to throw his changeup to right-handed batters. And that last one he located beautifully down and away to Jackson. He just doesn't miss. He's got pinpoint control.
Here's Johnny Damon. Damon struck out in the first inning. And there's strike one. Damon came in 5 for 15 against Pavano. Meanwhile, Pavano has gone 9 of 11 so far on first pitch strikes. The 1-1.
And they're not just first pitch strikes. They're quality first pitch strikes. This guy can work the outer edges with the best of them. Has kind of had to reinvent himself from a hard-throwing right-hander to a guy that just adds and subtracts. Fastball doesn't get much above 90 miles an hour.
There's another strikeout for Pavano. Give him 4. He's retired 11 straight. Here comes Ordonez. Time for a base hit for the Tigers. They're down 2-0. Twins got a couple of runs in the first, and the Tigers looking for that first hit. Maglio bounced out 5-3, 0 for 1. That's rolled foul just outside of the bag, 0-1. Pavano, originally drafted by the Red Sox back in 1994, was traded to the Expos in a deal involving Pedro Martinez. Out straight back, 0-2.
He was one of the best prospects in their organization at that time. That's why he was given up in that deal for Pedro.
Well, Pavano has had some success. World Series member, the Marlins in 03. Once he got to the Yankees, though, it kind of fell apart for him. A lot of injuries. Signed a 4-year deal with the Yankees after the 04 season and didn't pitch a whole lot for them.
He didn't earn that one.
He's earning his keep this year, though. 9-6 with a 3.58 ERA.
He was a free agent after last season, and he wasted very little time re-signing with Minnesota. Very little time.
The 1-2. Popped him up. Shallow right field. Kubel coming under it. Yet another 1-2-3 inning for Pavano. 4 straight 1-2-3 frames. Detroit is brought to you by Hot and Lean Pockets. Enjoy whenever, wherever, and by Jaguar. Visit your local Jaguar dealer today to experience the 2011 Jaguar XJ. Another gorgeous day here in the Motor City. 83 degrees, our game time temp. And the Tigers trying to get the bats going against Pavano. They have not had a base runner through 4 innings. 12 in a row retired by Carl Pavano to start this one. Twins, meanwhile, got a couple of runs in the first, and they come to the plate here in the 5th, leading at 2-0. It'll be the top of the lineup. Denard Span leads it off, and Oliver misses inside. And he threw 73 pitches over the first 4 innings. Here's the 1-0. Span walked and scored a run in the first. He bounced out in the second. Denard with 2 hits in 10 at-bats in this series. And now 3 balls, no strikes. On deck, Orlando Hudson. Span gets a walk. That'll be the 4th of the game for Oliver. On the phone they go. Here is the AT&T trivia question again here today. Did you get it right? Where was the first Major League Baseball All-Star game played? Comiskey Park in Chicago on July 6th, 1933. And here's the box score from that game. And because it was back in 33, we put it in black and white. In a game that took 2 hours, 5 minutes. How about that? Hudson, a walk and a single. Runner bluffing. 2 huge steps towards second base by Span, but he wasn't going. So 2 walks in that first inning, an intentional walk in the 3rd, and now a base on balls here in the 5th for Oliver. One and one on Hudson. Orlando, or as they call him, the O-Dog, is now 6 for 10 in this series against the Tigers. He's been a good hitter in his career, 282 lifetime. He's played in both leagues. 2-1.
O-Dog is one player on Minnesota's team that doesn't really want to see the All-Star break come. The way he's swinging the bat.
It's funny because some guys do, some guys don't.
Yeah.
If you're going really good, the last thing you want is 4 days off.
I was talking to Gardenhire yesterday, and I was asking him what he was going to do for the All-Star break. He said he was going to go home and get into his mobile home, and he was going to go up to one of the mini lakes around their area and use his buddy's electricity. That's exactly what he told me.
Why not, I suppose? If it's at your disposal, you might as well take advantage.
Why not?
I think he does that a lot. I think I remember last year he was doing the same thing, too, at the All-Star break. 2-1 on Hudson. Driven high in the air to right center field. This ball is hit well. Jackson, a long run. Look at that catch by Jackson.
That boy's out cold.
Streaking back to first base and just getting back in is Span. Austin Jackson with another gem.
Out cold. Standing O here at Comerica Park. Last time we've seen a center fielder run down baseballs the way that Austin Jackson's running down baseballs this year. You got to go all the way back to Chet Lemon for me. Chet Lemon used to run some balls down just like this in the outfield. Get back in the weight room, young man.
I think the O-Dog could do is smile after that. Holy cow.
Spectacular play. And he's just making him look easy, too. That's not an easy play that he made look easy.
Here's Delman Young. It's just one after another with Jackson this year. The one he made in Galarraga's near perfect game continues to be the best for me because of the situation, but that one was awfully good.
Let's take a look at it in Exmo, courtesy of Lincoln Mercury. For a guy that has that kind of athleticism and speed, and Young is drilled, it must be fun for Jackson to maneuver around here at Comerica Park, where it's so spacious. Lots of room to roam.
Well, in the meantime, another threat brewing here in the 5th inning with a walk and a hit batter, and here comes Rick Mann. Pitch is starting to pile up now for Oliver, who had thrown 73 to get through 4 innings. He's over his average so far this year through 3 starts. Meanwhile, the Tigers have had some action in their bullpen. Bonan was warming up earlier, and he is again looking at things from the bullpen, so he should be good to go if Leland would choose to have him come in the game here. And we'll see what transpires with the next batter, Tomey. They have 2 men on, threatening again here in the 5th inning. Tomey had an RBI single in the first, soft line drive with 2 men on in the 3rd, which saved a couple of runs. Play by Santiago up the middle. Well, Tomey is known for his home runs. He is known for driving in runs. 1,594 career RBIs, good for 34th all time. 10th all time in the home run list. Big swing. 0-2. He is chasing Mike Schmidt, and he is just about there. Schmidt 33rd, then Brett will be in his sights. Oh, and 2 on Jim Tomey. Checked it. Did he go? No, he did not. Chad Fairchild at third base said that he held up. Tomey wants time now as Oliver takes too long. He's going to get away from Avila, roll all the way back to the pitcher. Wow, never seen that happen.
What was that pitch? Avila had no shot.
Put runners at 2nd and 3rd.
It was at 86 miles an hour. Looks like a slider that he just held on to too long.
Ground ball off the shin guard. So now Tomey again in the same situation he was in back in the 3rd. Runners at 2nd and 3rd.
Good pitch.
Three strikeouts for Oliver.
Instead of going to the breaking ball where Avila felt like he might hang it, why not go with his best pitch? With the fastball up and out of the strike zone, and Tomey couldn't hold up on it. That's a great call by Avila.
Jim Leland coming out. Bonine is going to be coming in. Oliver gives up the baseball and a wall side windows. Pitching change. To the bullpen they go. We'll be back. In the fifth inning with runners at second and third, and Oliver is still responsible for those runners. They give way to Eddie Bonine. 88 pitches for Oliver.
Eddie Bonine last pitched on the 5th of July. That was a game where he came in very early. I think that was in the same game that Oliver started and went 1 2/3 innings.
And so Bonine in again here for Oliver. And that'll bring up Michael Kadire. He will be the first man he faces. Kadire will try and pad their lead. It's 2-0. Twins got 2 early ones in this game, but they've not been able to do anything since.
Oliver showing his youth in this ball game today. He walked 4, hit 1, wild pitch. He fell behind the majority of the hitters that he saw. But the Tigers were still in real good shape to win this game if Bonine could strand those 2 runners. Oliver definitely has the stuff to pitch up here, but just needs to be a little bit more efficient in throwing the ball over the plate.
Kadire is 0 for 1. He was walked intentionally back in the third. Five hits for the Twins in this one. Tigers have yet to put a hit on the board. Kadire's played all over the place in his time with the Minnesota Twins, and this year he's played in a lot of different positions, including second base, which he has admitted that he really enjoys playing. He hasn't played a lot of it, but he says, I love playing up the middle of the infield. The 1-2 is outside, good block by Avila. 2-2. But it's great to have a guy who can play as many positions as he does, and a lot of times those guys are utility players, not guys that have the capability of hitting 30 home runs, driving in 100 runs. Two and two. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes on Kadire. If he reaches, Kubel would be next. Yanked foul. Inning started with Span walking. Hudson robbed on a great running play by Jackson. Young was then hit by a pitch, and then Oliver struck out Thome, the final batter that he faced today. Way up top, the blimp giving us some great aerial coverage this weekend.
Driven in the air toward left center field. This ball is hit well. It is way back, and that ball is up against and over the wall. A ground rule double for Michael Kadire. Score 2 and make it 4-0. 40 RBIs now for Kadire. Those runs belong to Oliver.
Three-two fastball at the bottom of the strike zone. Real good, smooth swing by Kadire. And that's one Jackson couldn't run down in center field.
So now with Kubel up there, they'll give him the intentional pass. First base open.
Three of Oliver's 4 base on balls and 1 hit batter today have come around to score for Minnesota. So really up until this point, those 4 runs have been given to them.
Four runs on 6 hits for Minnesota.
Five walks for Tigers, pitching 2 intentional today. Here's Danny Valencia.
Oh for 2 for Valencia.
Made his debut this year in the big leagues. On June the 3rd, I should say. First major league hit, first major league at bat against a pretty good pitcher, King Felix, out in Seattle. 0-2 on Valencia, the native of Miami, Florida. Went on to play college ball at the University of Miami, or the U, as they say. And the 0-2. Rolled toward third base. Inge gobbles it up. Side retired. 2 more runs in to make it 4-0 Minnesota. And you're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire.
Well, the Tigers are trying to get the bats going here as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Cabrera will be leading it off. And earlier today, along with Jose Valverde, they received their all-star jerseys before today's contest. Here's Valverde's number 46 and Cabby's number 24. They will represent the Tigers.
There's a strike called on Cabrera. Bosch and then Guillen to follow. Pavano has retired 12 straight to start this game. And Cabrera hits a ground ball up the middle, played nicely by Hudson.
Here's an interesting scenario. Today out on the West Coast, these three all-star pitchers will be pitching for their respective clubs. Jared Weaver, Trevor Cahill, CC Sabathia, which means that on Tuesday they will not be able to pitch for the American League All-Star team. So I cannot think of a better guy to replace one of those three than our very own Justin Verlander, who has a legitimate shot now of getting his number 35 into Anaheim.
Bosch is safe, and there is the first Tigers hit of the game, an infield single after 13 straight were retired.
Bosch has got tremendous speed. I was talking to the Minnesota Twins coaches in their office yesterday, and they just marveled at his talent. Not only the bat, not only the batting average, not only the power, but his throwing arm and his speed.
Well, getting back to your point about Verlander, I think it's a legitimate one. And with all the new rules now surrounding the All-Star game, Major League Baseball cannot announce who would replace any of those guys if they throw a pitch today. If any of those guys throw a pitch, and they are all scheduled to, then there could be replacements.
And they're all on the West Coast, which means that more than likely we will be signing off, and we would not be able to congratulate Verlander properly if Verlander is going to the All-Star game. So, JV, if you're going, congratulations. It is well-deserved.
Well, here's Carlos Guillen now. The Tigers have their first base runner.
You know, they've got the re-entry rule, too, now in the All-Star game, which means, let's just say Cabrera starts the game at first base, and he plays 4 innings. And then just say, for whatever reason, some first basemen get hurt. You could have that player re-enter the game again. That's a new rule by MLB this year.
They've done a lot to just make some changes to the All-Star game and make sure they don't have any more ties. Double play into the inning, and it's still 4-0.
Hey, fans, analysis at foxsportsdetroit.com, along with dynamic content on your other local favorite teams. Plus, join the conversation in our fan forums. It's all waiting for you at foxsportsdetroit.com.
And we'll also have our preview of the second half on foxsportsdetroit.com. We'll take a look ahead at what hopefully will be a great second half for the Tigers. Right now, they trail 4-0 here as we go to the 6th inning. Nick Puto is leading it off. Then Drew Butera and Denard Span. Bo 9's 0-1. Well, the Tigers, after the All-Star break, will be opening up in Cleveland. And don't forget, they have a doubleheader as a makeup for a rainout earlier this year. And the Tigers have announced that on Saturday in Game 2 of that doubleheader, Rick Porcello will be coming up for the minor leagues to start that game for Detroit. And Porcello had a pretty good start last night in the minors.
He pitched 7 innings last night, and he struck out 7, which is always a positive. He only walked 3. There was some speculation that when Porcello's start was bumped back a couple of days ago that the Tigers were entertaining the thought of trading him, but they simply made that move to make sure he was on the proper schedule for the start after the All-Star break.
But boy, the rumors were just
flying.
They were just hot and heavy.
That's good, though. I mean, that somebody could think out of the box like that and kind of speculate. I mean, sometimes you got to stay in ahead of it, you know.
Yeah, the guys.
You want to be truthful, you want it to be factual, but sometimes it's good to think out of the box like that. And I think John Paul Morosi does a very nice job of that. As a matter of fact, he does some stuff for us on Tigers Live, so he must be okay.
2-2 on Punto. He'll be followed by Butera and then Span here against Bonine, who replaced the starter Oliver, who was taken out of the game in the 5th. And again, the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. First strikeout for Bonine.
Well, is the Tigers' schedule, I mean, going to be tougher the second half of the year, or have we played the majority of our tough games?
No, I say it's tougher the second half.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because we got to play those beasts in the East?
Exactly. On the road, you got to go to Tampa.
Yeah.
We'll be going to New York and Boston.
Yeah.
I know the West Coast is out of the way, but, you know, the West Coast, I mean, Seattle's been down this year. Oakland has not been an overpowering team. Yeah, the East is going to really be a challenge on the road in the second half. 1 strike on Butera. He fanned, or has fanned, a couple of times in this game. I want to get back to the All-Star game. You were talking, Rod, about the re-entry rule now that they have.
Yep.
It used to be for guys that started, you know, they played, what, 4 or 5 innings?
Yep.
And then they could cool down, and they knew they were done.
No, they'd be going to get to them planes, and they'd be headed out of wherever they were. They weren't coming back in the game.
Bosch will handle this one. Now it's a bit of a different thing because you kind of have to hang around, don't you?
Yes, you do. Because, I mean, Mauer, I mean, he's going to start for the American League team, and John Buck is the only other American League catcher. So Mauer catches 3 innings, 4 innings. He's already banged up, and that means Buck has to catch the remainder of the game. But if Buck gets nicked up, and that's where you have a guy like Mauer that could re-enter the game, like high school rules.
Right, exactly. And so that poses its own problem in that, you know, guys are cooled down. Now they got to fire up again if they come back into the game.
True.
There's a roller toward Guillen, and that's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Bonine. Nicely done. We go to the bottom of the 6th against Pavano.
Look at all the real estate that Austin Jackson has to cover here in center field to make this outstanding play to take extra bases away from Orlando Hudson. Jackson could use a Coors Light about right now. or a beverage of his choice. Coors Light Freeze Cam, always brought to you by your Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Let's just go with the bottled water for now.
It's hot.
It is that. Well, the bottom line is here, the Tigers got to get the offense rolling. They've had just one hit against Pavano, and that was of the infield variety. And here is Brandon Inge to lead it off. As Carl Pavano, who takes a strike.
56 pitches this cat has thrown to this point. 56.
Extremely efficient.
You don't have a whole lot of margin for error when you're going up against Pavano because he's just so efficient. Does not give up lots of base hits. He doesn't really walk anybody. Fields his position very well. Just a real good big league pitcher that's not overpowering.
Well, again, he has been a thorn in the side of the Tigers. He came in with a 2.88 career ERA in 7 starts against Detroit.
Minnesota would never admit it, but they acquired Pavano last year from the Cleveland Indians to pitch against the Tigers down the stretch. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, he's made 1 start against the Tigers this year. Prior to this one, he went 8 innings, giving up 2 earned runs, struck out 5 in that game, and it was a loss here to the Tigers. Complete game loss. But he just continues to get it done against Detroit hitting. And Joe for 1 with a fly ball. Three and 2. Alex Avila waiting on deck, and then Ramon Santiago. Bottom of the lineup trying to get it going. And that's rolled foul. We have not received our attendance figure yet today, but boy, oh boy, what a crowd this is again here this afternoon.
It's been a nice home stand.
Gorgeous day here today.
And it's one thing when teams like Minnesota come to town, but it's a whole nother ball game when there's 35,000 people rolling in here to watch the Baltimore Orioles play.
There's a leadoff walk to Brandon. Maybe second Tigers base runner.
Hey fans, hit pitches thrown by former Tiger Dave Rosen under the Comerica Park lights on Friday, July 30th from 8 to 11 p.m. Enjoy 3 hours of Major League fun for only $249. For information, call 313-471-2550 or visit Tigers.com. Jerry Lewis, who runs the majority of the fantasy camps and pitchers batting practice and all the festivities that are handled in that fashion, does a marvelous job of getting people on the field, through the clubhouses, you name it. Jerry does it.
Dave Roseman was on Tigers Live pregame with Ryan Fields today. He was talking about, you know, he'll basically throw you anything you want. If you want it high, he'll throw it high. If you want it low, if you want changeups, you want breaking balls, fastballs, whatever you want. He said most of the guys come in with a little bit of a pot belly, so they like them high because they can't see below their belly. Runner goes and a swing and a miss. No throw as Butero was unable to hold on to it. So give Inge his first steal of the year. Put a man in scoring positions. The Tigers try and chip away. Avila, a strikeout victim back in the third. And the 1-1. 1-2 on Alex. Avila, 291 over his last 27 games. He's hit 4 home runs this year. 3 of them have come against Minnesota. Two and 2 on Avila. Tigers got an infield hit from Bosch in the 5th, and that was erased on a double play. And now a walk here in the 6th. They're only runners against Pavano, so he's not thrown from the stretch all that much today. Missed it inside, run it full, 3 and 2. Here comes the crowd now. Santiago waiting on deck. We're just waiting for something to happen for the good guys. And the 3-2. Swing, and they miss.
Let's take a look at the mastery this afternoon by Pavano. This is a fastball. It's elevated. You see the release point is very, very high, but he keeps the ball up. He throws it right by Damon. And then he's got a fastball he'll throw to the right-hander that dances away from him. It looks like a slider. And then he has the same pitch that he'll come back and throw against a left-hander that dances the other way. So that's why Pavano is so effective these days pitching for Minnesota. He keeps the ball out of the middle of the plate and changes speeds on everything.
In and out, up and down. It has worked for Pavano. Santiago hit a ground ball back in the third. There's Pavano's 0-1. Ramon chasing 0-2. In on Santiago that time, and he yanked it foul. 0-2 on Ramon. Tigers with them parting ways with Adam Everett have pretty much gone with Santiago and Danny Worth at the shortstop position since. They have rotated those two guys. The 0-2. Lifted toward left field. On the move is Delman Young. Foul ground to make the play. And there are 2 outs. Time for another game break. We go back to the studio. Here's Trevor Thompson. Trevor, thank you. Here it is 4-0 Minnesota.
Greinke pitching against the White Sox today. And Greinke's been hot his last 4, but he really has not in his career pitched all that well against the White Sox.
Old Greinke. No balls, 1 strike on Austin Jackson. Pavano is now 16 of 19 on first big strikes.
Check that. Greinke got scratched from his start today in Chicago, I'm being told.
Really? Well, hopefully the Royals can give the Tigers some help. There's a swing and a miss. Meanwhile, Pavano continues to carve up Detroit. That's 6 strikeouts. 6 in the books. 4-0.
the latest apparel. Get your gear from the source, the official source, at Tigers.com. Shop, except no substitutes.
Well, it's the 7th inning now, and Eddie Bonine back to the hill in a 4-0 game. Minnesota with the lead. Pavano has thrown 76 pitches through 6 innings of work, and he's been in command here today.
I don't know how this game is going to shake out. The Tigers have had no momentum on their side. No momentum in the first couple of hours of this game. But it's games like these with guys like Bonine and Thomas that have just kind of held the fort down and just allowed the Tigers to come back in a lot of games this year. So this game may be shaping up that way. Don't leave us.
That has been the value of a guy like Eddie Bonine.
Just hold the score right where it's at, and if your offense somehow wakes up, which it doesn't look like it's going to do today against Pavano, but that's the way it is.
9 outs to go for that Tiger offense. Orlando Hudson, and then Delma Young and Jim Thome, 2, 3, 4 in Ron Gardenhire's lineup. Let's see, 3-1 pitch. Skied toward left. Bosch is under it. 1 out. Well, since June 1st, here's how the 3-horse race has shaped up. Tigers and White Sox have played good baseball, and well, Minnesota going the other way.
That's about the time that we were in Chicago, and it looked like Ozzie Guillen and Kenny Williams, the general manager, they were going to get a divorce. They had to get some counseling from the owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, and he told them, boys, if we get a few wins, everything will be all right. So I have to believe that things are pretty good on the south side of Chicago right now.
Well, Paul Konerko went from possibly being traded to now being one of the key performers on their team, and you know,
MVP candidate.
Exactly, and now he's going to be an all-star,
deservedly.
So things have really changed because of a couple of big runs that Chicago has gone on.
Did you see where the White Sox got their own reality television show coming out next Sunday?
I did. I saw some previews of it.
It looks like it might be entertaining.
I think it will be.
Well, anything that Ozzie does, most of the times, is entertaining.
High fly ball, shallow center. Jackson coming in. 2 gone. They may have to use the bleep button a few times on that reality series.
No doubt. Take a look at this well-located pitch by Eddie Bonine that's down and in to Delma Young. A little breaking ball there that's down and in. He flips it and gets underneath it.
Jim Thome with 2 outs. He's 1 for 3 plus an RBI today. Thome has a couple of different nicknames. The Tominator, of course, is the most popular, but another one that he has that is not often used is the Pride of Peoria from Peoria, Illinois. Jim Thome, a very proud town south of Chicago. Little tapper hit towards second base. It's the shortstop Santiago who makes the play. Side retired. 1-2-3 inning. Bonine continues to do his job.
Tigers fans, this season it's easier than ever to find the seats you want or sell the tickets to the games you can't make on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Detroit Tigers. Go to StubHub.com and choose your seats today. Aerial coverage brought to you today by DirecTV. Get every MLB game in HD. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. Thanks to our good friends, DirecTV and the Blimp, showing us the terrific aerial views of Comerica Park and the surrounding areas. It's been a great day for the most part, with the exception of the score. Minnesota is on top by a count of 4-0. Carl Pavano has been masterful in this one. He'll answer the bell here in the bottom of the seventh.
Tigers have one hit, and that was by Brennan Bosch, and that was an infield single. That ball did not even leave the infield.
Next in a breaking ball for strike one on Damon. Johnny has fanned twice in this game. Was 5 for 15 against Pavano coming in. Here's the 0-1. In the air to right. Sinking, and it drops. Base hit. Oh, maybe that's the hit that gets the Tigers fast rolling.
Well, you wonder if Damon will attempt to steal a base. One of the few things that Pavano does not do well, he does not hold runners very well. Usually when you're on first base and you attempt to steal when Pavano's out there, you're successful.
Tigers have the big part of the lineup coming. Ordonez.
90% your chances are of getting to second base if you steal when Pavano is on the mound.
Right back up the middle into center field. Base hit. Damon on his way to second. Stops there. And here come the Tigers now in the seventh inning. Signals by Damon and Ordonez. And now here comes the big fella, Cabrera.
Big fella's done a lot of damage. Seventh inning and on for the Tigers this year. 320, 10 big flies, and 26 runs driven in.
Pavano has now allowed 3 hits. Literally the only stress he has pitched in this game. Cabby is 0 for 2. He has that 18-game hitting streak on the line. Blowing away.
No one in Ron Gardenhire's bench, his bullpen, is moving. This is Pavano's game.
Pulled foul down the third base line.
Cabrera got the party started yesterday very early for the Tigers. It came in the very first inning. The cut fastball from Nick Blackburn, and the big fella trotted around the base pass.
Yesterday, all 8 hits were for extra bases. Today, all 3 hits are singles, at least to this point. Now the 1-1. .76 RBIs for Cabrera at a .346 average coming in. Both were American League high.
These situations right here are where Pavano flourishes, because most major league pitchers, they would kind of give in to the strike zone here, but he will not. He'll still stay on the edges. Perfect pitch
right there.
There's really nothing Cabrera could do. I mean, he's kind of arguing with the home plate umpire. He doesn't agree with the call of Eric Cooper, but there's nothing that he could do with it either.
Foxtrack says, yep, it was on the edge. 2-2 on Cabrera. Fill it now 3-2, and this becomes interesting here. 2 men on, nobody out. 3-2 to Cabrera.
I'd start him. I don't think Pavano can strike Cabrera out.
Let's
See what Jim decides.
And I would hate to see Cabrera hit into a double play.
Runners hold. Ground ball fair inside the bag at third. It'll go to the corner and get one in lace. Damon comes around to score. Maglio is going to be held up as the ball rattled around and left. And the Tigers are back in business. Now it's 4-1.
Let's take a look at this, and it's going to be our pitch-by-pitch, courtesy of Bell Tires. He fell behind 2 balls, 1 strike, and then he came back with a perfectly located breaking ball for strike 2. And then he tried to get him with a fastball down, tried to sneak that same fastball inside, muscled right past Valencia for the first run of the game for Detroit and the first extra base hit of the game as well.
And give Cabrera a 19-game hitting streak. Now here's Bosch. Tying run at the plate. Brennan had a rip, and that one caught the home plate umpire, Eric Cooper.
Brennan Bosch has got lightning quick bat speed for a guy that stands 6'6", about 230. He's not just strong. Bat speed is lethal. It's almost like he was looking for this fastball and didn't get to it. Boy, is that a quick bat.
3 straight hits for the Tigers. They get a run in. Bosch pops it up. Foul ground, heading back to the seats. Out of play.
The one thing that Pavano has the ability to do that a lot of starting pitchers can't do against Bosch. And the only reason why Pavano can do it because he has pinpoint control. He can throw that fastball above the belt buckle about 6 inches off the plate to Brennan Bosch, and that's the one pitch that has given him some problems this year. The only pitch.
Matt Guerrier was warming up. Bosch has done a lot of his damage from the 7th inning and beyond. Here's the 0-2.
See, that's that one area. That's that one area that presents a little bit of a problem for Brennan, but he was able to get a nick of that one. I was in the Minnesota Twins coaches locker room before the game, and they were just gushing over the talent of Brennan Bosch yesterday. And Ron Gardenhire and just about his entire staff. But how could you not?
A lot to be impressed about.
Nice shot. See everything.
Here's the 1-2. Ground ball, third base side. Ooh, he thought about coming home. He'll get the out.
In reality, he had time to come home had he wanted to force the issue, but with a 3-run lead, Valencia just assumed to give up the run. Let's take a look at the shot right here where the ball gets in his glove. Where's Maglio? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm going to say
wow,
that's probably an easy out.
I mean, he looked at him, too. Maglio's looking at him. He's like, are you kidding me? Maglio's like, thank you. The ball's in his glove right now. I'm surprised Maglio didn't stop and go back to third base.
I am too. That's how lopsided that was. Tigers take it though. 4-2 game. First out of the inning. Guillen fouls it off.
Well, as good as Pavano was going, he knew it was going to be tough to get through this Tigers lineup here at Comerica Park, where they've got the best home record in all of baseball. He knew he would pitch in a little bit of stress here today.
Guillen 0 for 2 is hit into a double play this afternoon. Tigers putting together 3 straight hits to start this inning. The deficit down to 2. Twins got 2 runs early in this game in the very first inning, and then 2 in the 5th.
Usually, Pavano gives you a window of opportunity early in games, not late.
Whoa, what happened in Chicago?
They're hot.
It was just 1-1 the last time we checked in.
Looks like the Tigers might have to win this game today to stay in first place when they start play on Friday.
7-run third for the White Sox. 1-1 on Guillen. Now all of a sudden the pitch count that was in terrific shape this entire game taking a beating here in the 7th. It's up to 92. The 1-1 pitch. Lifted in the air, center field. Span has room. Runner tags and holds. 2 outs is going to be up to Brandon Inge. Tying run at the plate. Brandon has the walk and a steal in this game. 0 for 7 in the series. Oh and 1. In the air, right field should end the inning. Jason Kubel is there, and the Tigers settled for 2, but they get back into the game as we go to the 8th. You're watching Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. Eddie Bonan being called upon again to hold him down for another inning. Michael Kadire, Jason Kubel, Danny Valencia due up here against Bonan. Eddie got him 1-2-3 in the 7th. First pitch is in there for a strike. Kadire had a big hit in this game, a 2-run double that right now is the difference. It made it 4-0 back in the 5th. And with that double, Kadire now an even 40 RBIs. Bonan gets ahead 1-2. flare into right field. Base hit. Right in front of Ordonez. The leadoff single in the 8th inning for Michael Kadire. His second hit today. Brad Thomas is warming up. And the skipper making his way up the stairs. Avila buying him some time, and now Leland with a walk out to the mound. And with Kubel due off, looks like he's bringing the hook with him. So the Tigers will go back to the bullpen.
Keep the score right where it's at. He comes in with a good record, earned run average a shade over 4, 20 walks and 15 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .287 against Brad.
Here is Kubel. Jason on base twice in this game. Intentional walk, a single, and an RBI. He's also hit into a double play. Leadoff single here by Michael Kadire, chasing Bonai. Oh, 0-1 on Kubel. He's faced Thomas just twice in his career, 0 for 2 against him. Tigers trying to extend a 5-game win streak. Minnesota trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. Off the end of the bat foul. 0-2 on Kubel. Kubel has 49 driven in. Drove in a run in the first inning when Oliver started the game by walking the first 2 batters. They both came around to score. Here's the 0-2. They'll get back out of play. It's starting to get a little bit cloudy here at the ballpark. The wind is picking up as well. They took the cover off the tarp, so there is some rain in the area, but right now it has stayed away from the ballpark. Hopefully it'll continue to do so. But the conditions have changed. The blip, however, is still going strong.
Lifted towards shallow left, base hit. Kubel has another hit, and the Twins now coming right back here in the 8th inning with back-to-back singles.
The last 2 base hits, both on fastballs, one by Bonine to Kadire that was kind of up and in, and then that one by Thomas that was up and in to Kubel, and both guys able to fight the ball off the opposite way. Just fights it off. Doesn't hit it very hard, but it's a base hit. That's why lots of pitching coaches, they don't like to go inside. They'd rather their pitchers locate their fastballs down and away for that very reason.
It's the 8th hit of the game now for Minnesota, and here is Valencia. See what the plans are for him. And time called now as Avila goes out to the mound. And now here comes Rick Knapp.
Eric Cooper, home plate umpire, will not be far behind this time.
Cooper actually followed Avila out to the mound, and he's going to give Knapp a couple of minutes here, but not a whole lot.
Well, the Tigers obviously are thinking that Valencia is up there bunting, but it's not a given. But Ron Gardenhire does play that style of baseball. But you got Punto hitting behind him, and he's hitting 242. He's not necessarily an RBI guy. And you got Butera hitting 157, who's batting 9th. So we'll see what Gardenhire wants to do.
Yeah, interesting choice here because it is, I guess, a bunting situation late in the game in a 2-run game, but the guys coming up aren't really run producers.
Nope.
So we'll see if the bunt is in order here.
Tigers are not looking for the bunt. At least not on the infield, they're not.
They're not going to get it, at least on that, not on that pitch. 1-0 on Valencia.
And probably for those reasons. Number 8, number 9 hitter. Not RBI guys. If you're Valencia, though, you can take it upon yourself to bunt for a base hit, though. If that's part of your game, you got a lot of room down toward third base.
Slice to right field, hit pretty well. Maglio was on the run. It's over his head, up against the wall. 1 run will score. That's Kadire. The throw comes into second base, and Valencia doubles in a big run to make it 5-2 Minnesota. And that thing just carried out to the wall in right field. Sailed over Maglio's head.
And Thomas can't get his fastballs down. He gave up a base hit to Kubel. Fastball was up, and that fastball right there to Valencia was also up and out over the heart of the plate, and he drilled it.
So the Tigers now will pull the infield in with runners at second and third, nobody out, and already a run in for Minnesota. Punto takes way outside, 1-0. 9 hits for the Minnesota Twins, just 4 today for the Tigers. Tigers did not score until they got 2 in the 7th inning. And missed again, 2-0. Enrique Gonzalez starting to warm up. Popped him up. Shallow center field. Not very deep. Jackson is under it, and the runners will hold. Punto unable to get a run in. First out of the inning. That's going to bring up Drew Butera.
Might see a pitch out here on the first or second pitch from Thomas to Avila. 1 out. Butera and not swinging the bat all that well. And the Tigers might be thinking about a squeeze.
Strike 1 on Butera. Infield still in for Detroit.
Scott Ulger relaying the signs from Ron Gardenhire.
When you throw that first strike over the plate, it makes it a little easier for you to pitch out if you want to pitch out or to throw something up in the strike zone.
There's the pitch out and nothing doing. Leland has been so good at sniffing that stuff out this year. Not that time, though. One ball, one strike. And his line foul back out of play, 1-2. Only 1 for 7 for the Tigers with men in scoring position today. Minnesota 4 for 12. They have Kubel and they have Valencia on the bases. Tom is trying to wiggle out of a jam here. Already a run in. That'll go foul. Got in on his hands and apparently broke his bat. The 1-2 pitch. High, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Drew Butera, who's 0 for 3 in this game. Drew's dad used to play for the Minnesota Twins. In fact, he played for the Tigers as well. Sal Butera. Sal played on that '87 team for Minnesota that beat the Tigers in the ALCS and went on to play the Cardinals in the World Series. Great World Series. Fouled away. 2-2. The count stays on Drew Butera. Way high and outside. 3-2. Inning started with a base hit by Kadire, and then Thomas came in. Kubel had a hit. Valencia doubled in a run. Bonine another terrific job, but the leadoff single he allowed here in the 8th has come around to score. That's a big run, 5-2. It made it a 3-run spread. And that's popped up as well. Shallow left field.
Not deep enough.
Strong throwing arm of Bosch. They're going to try and score him. Here comes the throw, and he is saved. Kubel tags and scores, and it's a 6-2 ball game.
It's a gamble here by Minnesota, but they're up by 3 runs. Bosch does everything right. He gets behind the ball, momentum carrying him back toward his throw. One hopper, and Avila tried to block the plate, but the very strong slide by Kubel able to get underneath his leg and make sure he gets that left foot on the plate. Good, strong slide by Kubel.
Bring up Denard Span. Both runners move up. And now 6-2 as the Twins get the 2 runs back they gave up. Roll toward first base, and Cabrera will hit the bag for the out to retire the side. But a big inning for Minnesota. They go back up by 4.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Strength and stability since 1849. Wallside Windows for a free in-home estimate. Call 1-800-521-7800. And by Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Back here in the Motor City, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and the Tigers back down by 4 now. 6-2 is our score. Carl Pavano back to work, and he faces Alex Avila. Avila starting things off. And Santiago, and then Jackson. Here's the 0-1.
Talking to Jim Leland yesterday, Jim said that going into the All-Star break and looking forward to the trade deadline, he said if there's one area that he'd like to see his team shore up, and he said it'd be the bullpen. He said he'd like to see a veteran down in this bullpen. Not that the guys haven't done a very good job down there.
Span on the move for this one. One gone.
But as their schedule gets tough, and they go into some hostile environments, he said it'd be nice to have a veteran down there in that bullpen to go along with some of the other guys that are down there. The Tigers, their bullpen, the guys aren't necessarily that young, but they don't have a lot of bullpen experience.
Well, a guy they've counted on quite a bit this year, Phil Koch, has only been in the big leagues, well, if you count his New York time now, about 2 years.
He's your setup guy now.
Yeah. They popped up bunts back out of play.
But there's a lot of teams that are looking for the same type of pitcher, though. And you don't want to overpay to get a rental player, so to speak, somebody to come in and help you for the second half of the season. But you still would like to have that guy. Says he's cool with every other phase of his ball club right now.
The 0-1 pitch. Sliced. It's going to be a fair ball. And it bounced up against the wall. And a two-base hit for Santiago. The Tigers get another hit against Pavano.
Well-located fastball down and away from Santiago, and he basically takes what Pavano gives him.
The 100th pitch that Pavano has thrown in this game. Jackson skies one to center field, but too much room out there. Runner tagging but holding. Austin is 0 for 4 today. There are 2 outs. He's going to bring up Johnny Damon. Tigers had 5 hits in this game, 9 for the Twins. Damon started that rally for the Tigers in the 7th with a single. He came around to score on the double by Cabrera. Johnny trying to keep the inning going here in the 8th. Oh, 1. 5 for 11 in the series for Damon. Boy, that wind is really howling now. Blowing out to left. Tigers did not have a hit until the 5th inning in this one, an infield single for Bosch. Pavano retired the first 13 straight to start this game. Bouncing ball back up the middle. It's going to get through. Base hit. Score the run. Santiago comes in. Johnny Damon, his second hit of the day. 28th RBI as well.
Johnny Damon's bat starting to perk up here in the month of July after having a slow month of June. Just a lousy single right back up the box.
So
Damon with hits in his last 2 at bats. It's now again a 3-run game, and that appears to be it for Pavano. And it will be. So Carl Pavano gives up the baseball. And they
the fastball with 2 strikes. He was throwing front door fastballs. He was throwing changeups to both sides of the plate. And because of that, he had pitched a very good game here today. He leaves with 1 runner on. He has given up 3 runs on 6 hits, 6 strikeouts, and he does his best work against Detroit Tigers batters.
Meanwhile, they have gone back to the bullpen now, or to the bullpen for the first time. Pavano a little bit upset.
A little mini snappage.
And it looks like Matt Guerrier is in.
Matt Guerrier is pitching in his 41st game this year for Ron Gardenhire. He comes in with 1 win and 5 losses. The earned run average is respectable. Strikeouts to walks ratio is 2-to-1, which is good as well. And the league only hitting .225 against Matt. One of your better setup men in the game of baseball today.
So after Pavano throws 104 pitches, Guerrier to face Maglio with 2 outs. And he swings in the first and taps it right back to the mound. And that is it. Inning over. So Guerrier throws 1 pitch to end the inning. We played 8, and it's 6-3 Minnesota. The R&D Trev 8-5. That's not bad. Still a long way to go in that game. Here it is a 3-run game as well. 6-3 as we play in the 9th inning, and leading it off is Orlando Hudson.
Talked about that White Sox team and the fact that they have had some really good pitching lately. Carlos Quentin, their right fielder, has also stepped it up. Trevor said he has 18 home runs now. He did not look good when we were there a month ago. Struggling with Quentin.
It looked like the year he had a couple of years ago might have been a mirage, but I guess he's coming back.
He perked up. Really, from an offensive standpoint, you knew their guys were not going to play as poorly as they were playing. Beckham, their second baseman, was struggling. Juan Pierre still stealing some bases, but from a batting average standpoint, he was not playing well. They just kind of got it all together.
Two balls, one strike on Orlando Hudson. Now 2-2. Hudson, Young, and Tomey here in the 9th inning. Tigers down by 3. It has been a 7-1 homestand so far for the Tigers. They'll need to rally to win 8 out of 9 and sweep the Twins. 2-2 is a little looper back at first base and caught by Cabrera. 1 gone. Well, what's going on in the voting for the McDonald's Player of the Game? Santiago right now has a slim margin over Cabrera, and Brandon Inge in 3rd place. You can still vote, and we'll have the final results for the Tigers McDonald's Player of the Game before we leave the air today. Santiago's had himself a nice day. Had a double to start off, or to start a rally in the 8th inning, and he's made quite a few defensive plays in this one. Here's Delman Young. Sends a ground ball back up the middle into center.
Delman Young has swung at the first pitch on 3 of his 4 plate appearances today, and really he hasn't done a lot of that this year against us. He's been a lot more patient, but today he's been hitterish, in a hitterish mood.
He's going to bring up Tomey, and that's now going to give Minnesota an even 10 hits in this game. Young has 2 of those, a single to go with his double. Tomey has an RBI in the game. He fouls it away 0-1. Andy Oliver started this one. Bonine came on to relieve him in the 5th. And then Thomas in the 8th. Young 4 stolen bases this year in 7 attempts. Held by Cabrera. The 0-1. So Tomey has had 16 straight seasons of hitting 20 or more home runs. He has 10 this year. Signed as a free agent of the offseason, a 1-year deal by Minnesota. One and 2. Popped up. Shallow left field. Inge going back. And then foul ground makes the play. Young holds. 2 gone. It's going to bring up Kadire. Been on base 3 times, walked intentionally, doubled in 2, singled and scored. And big finale for Kadire. He's had himself a nice series. Thomas took over in the 8th and surrendered the RBI double to Valencia. The sacrifice fly to Butera. That rebuilt the Minnesota lead. Ball high, 2-0.
Don't just lay it right down the middle. He might be swinging.
That's a walk, so Kadire is aboard for the 4th time. Put 2 aboard now. Bring up the left-handed batting Jason Kubel. Kubel has faced Thomas twice, 0 for 2 lifetime against him. Big day today for Kubel, though. He's walked, he has singled twice, has scored and knocked one in. Already a 3-run deficit for the Tigers, so they'd like to keep it right here with 2 outs. And it's in the air toward left center field. Jackson, long run again. Bosch comes in and makes the diving play. Man, can they cover some ground out there. Brennan Bosch saved a run with a diving catch in left center. The second half in Cleveland against the Indians. Game 1 on Friday night. Max Scherzer, Jake Westbrook. And the new pitcher on now for Minnesota in this one is John Roush trying to close it out.
He's done a nice job for Minnesota. Joe Nathan, of course, had the Tommy John surgery in spring training. They didn't know who would close games for them. John Roush has stepped up and done nice work.
That's some defensive changes now as Punto will go from short to third base and J.J. Hardy comes in to play shortstop. 3 changes for Minnesota as they try and avoid the sweep here and put this one in the win column against the Tigers. Cabrera leading it off.
Roush, a real tall fella, throws from an arm slot, arm angle that most hitters do not see very often. And he throws straight downhill, which sometimes presents problems for hitters.
2-0 on Cabrera. And Cabrera just 3 for 12 against Roush. One of those hits, a home run. There's ball 3 high. 3-0 on Miguel. 40,000 here today to watch this game, wrapping up this series and this homestand. Lost at ball 4. Cabrera gets a walk to lead it off in the 9th. This entire homestand has been a big draw for the Tigers. 285,000 folks coming through the turnstiles. 123,000 alone for this series against Minnesota. Here comes Bosch. In the air, shallow left. Hardy, the shortstop, going back, calling for it. First out of the inning. Bring up Guillen. He's faced Roush 3 times in his career and has 2 hits against him. Carlos today is 0 for 3. Roush is 6 feet 11 inches tall, goes 290 pounds, born in Louisville, Kentucky. 1 ball, 1 strike. Was acquired last year from Arizona. High foul fly down the right field line. Roush had some closing experience with the Washington Nationals. He saved 17 games back in 08. And thrust into that role this year with the injury to Joe Nathan. Here's the 1-2. He tried to hold up, but he went around. Strike 3. Guillen is out of there.
Eric Cooper made the call himself and didn't need any help from his third base umpire and made the right choice.
Here's Brandon Inge. Last chance for the Tigers. Inge 0 for 2. Walk, steal. Fly ball left field, hit pretty well. Delman Young has room, edge of the warning track, and the ball game is over. So Minnesota hangs on and beats the Tigers today. 6-3 our final score. The Tigers unable to sweep, but still a very successful homestand nonetheless for Detroit. There are your final totals. Back with more from Comerica Park in a moment.